So hi, everyone, and welcome to our event on generative AI for enterprise, big risks, bigger opportunity. I'm your host, Masha Gamonprey, and I'm super excited about our discussion today as I can feel that it's straight on the agenda of everyone. It's extremely relevant, and we need to speak more about those things, about how generative AI is influencing our work, right? Because it's all around. We hear about it all the time. And at the same time, we don't really know what's the real implication for the companies. So I would like you to welcome our amazing speakers joining us today, who had volunteered their time to be here. That's Daisy Weborg, the co-founder of OneReach.ai. Hi, Daisy.
Hi.
And Dr. Joan Palmiter Bajorek, the VP of Data and Analytics of OneReach also. Hello, Joan.
Hello.
So thank you so much for being here, and also welcome all the people who have been hopping in into the event. We're extremely grateful for our audience. You're the ones we keep doing it for. It's just as simple as that. And me, I'm your host as well, of course. So we'll jump to the presentations of the speakers in just a few moments. But before that, there are some amazing people of Conversational Collective behind the curtains who have been working so hard to organize all of those events, and we wouldn't be here today without them. So let's give a shout out to Ali, Ankur, Bishma, Emily, Fatima, Megan, Meredith, Olga, Olivera, and PJ. Thank you guys, you're the best. So if it's the first time you're hearing about Conversational Collective, it's a volunteer-based organization of people that are exploring, learning, connecting other people as well, involved in human-machine interaction. We rely on sponsorship. So if you're looking to hire conversation designers or become a sponsor, just get in touch with us or follow the link. You don't have to copy the link because someone's going to drop all the links in the chat. So don't worry about that. It will be shared with you. You're also more than welcome to become a part of our community. There will be a link for that as well. And if you want to leave a feedback or access to our newsletter, there are some links for that too. You're welcome to join our social channels as well, like Slack and LinkedIn. And lastly, you don't want to miss our future events, right? No, you don't. So you can learn about all the upcoming events, by subscribing to our newsletter, or you can follow us on Eventbrite, or you can check out our website, follow us on LinkedIn. Just get in touch, really. We're really happy for the newcomers and all the people who are excited to learn about the conversational AI and what it means to everyone. Here's a quick agenda for us today. We'll dive into the presentation a bit later, but please, at the end, you can see that there is 10 minutes for the questions. Don't hesitate to leave your questions in the chat during the talk. So at the end, I can just run through them and ask our speakers. For now, if you can introduce yourself in the chat, tell us where you coming from or where you're joining from and what brings you here. And once again, don't hesitate to leave your questions in the chat. So I guess let's just dive into it, right? Joan, to start, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Seattle. It is actually a sunny, warm day here, shockingly. Yeah. I am the VP of Data and Analytics here at OneReach. I'm also the founder and president of Women in Voice.
That's great. Thank you very much. Daisy, can you just present yourself in a couple of words, please?
Sure. My name is Daisy Weborg. Hi, everyone. I'm joining from Denver, Colorado today. So happy to be here. I'm the co-founder of and COO of OneReach.ai. So I think a lot of our company is based around conversational AI, generative AI, all the fun topics that we're going to talk about today. So happy to be here.
It's great to have you. I'm going to quickly introduce myself as well. Masha Gelman-Prey, that's with a silent Z, if you want to spell it. I am the customer experience and conversation design lead at Spix Industry, where we develop smart voice assistants for the industrial sector. So I'm super looking forward to this talk with you, ladies. So let's just start it. I'm going to pass you the torch. Bring it on. I'm going to stop sharing so you can present your slide deck. Okay.
Sounds good.
Great.
We are excited to dive in, and Daisy and I talked about what success would look like for us, and we really hope that we get to share some of our learnings, but that at the end we get to interact with you. So please share your questions, etc. Get ready for some Q&A.
We're in the conversation space, so we want conversation.
Literally.
That's for us.
Awesome. Can everyone see my slide? Want to make sure good to go?
Yeah. Okay. You can go ahead.
All right. So I'm taking this little our intro section. Hi, agenda of what we're going to go over today. We've got a brief intro to OneReach.ai. If you don't know about us already, we're going to talk about what's going on kind of in our ecosystem, and what we see is the mismatch between technology and where enterprise is today. We've got 4 critical components of generative AI for enterprise to share with you, diving deep, getting a little technical, looking at some cool stuff, and then time for QA is where we're at. So, oops. All right, one thing at a time. Who is OneReach? My phenomenal boss over here, Daisy. OneReach is an innovative AI platform, conversational AI, generative AI. We do enterprise infrastructure backends. We are a team of about over 250 people, and our hubs are in Denver and Ukraine. We also have hubs in Berkeley, Denver, Colorado, and Kiev. Okay, no joke, the size of our systems, it's pretty wild, that we power over 1 billion conversations per year. Our customers span across the world. We also, we're vertical agnostic. I always say that, but we also specifically work in healthcare, financial services, retail, government, logistics, and education, for some examples. And our 2 co-founders are Robb Wilson and Daisy Weborg. Those great headshots. What's behind our work? This phenomenal platform. Leading, I don't know if you've seen all our accolades and awards. I will just congratulate my team for external stuff going on, but really thinking about a no-code platform that really orchestrates behind the scenes phenomenal experiences that are super flexible and customizable and rapidly iterating, as Daisy could let us know, but really with a robust enterprise stack that can be continually switched out. The joke I usually make is OneReach. We can reach you WhatsApp, texting, email, really seamlessly with a quality user experience. All right. Lastly, my team wanted to make sure I mentioned our CEO's phenomenal book, Age of Invisible Machines. If you haven't already got it, there's also an audiobook, strongly recommend. It's a Wall Street Journal bestselling in the business section. We're very proud of that. Also bestseller on Amazon in AI and semantics, strategic business planning, computers and technology. We've been getting lots of fantastic feedback about the content in there, about hyperautomation and the future. So check it out. Okay.
Yeah, what's really fun about that, just let me talk,
please.
Quickly intercept, whatever the word I'm looking for there. But this is a book that we wrote or created based on our experiences. So this was really originally created as a how-to so that you could then kind of jump in, really be actionable on creating your own team, group, how to get things done. So this really comes from years of experience. It was published last year before the whole chat explosion, before the whole generative AI explosion. So it really does give you insight into how long we've been in there doing this. So a lot of this comes from our experience, not just from a belief structure. So hopefully you'll find value in that.
Getting your hands dirty. There are whole sections of checklists, of recommendations and
Yes.
design. Very, very hands-on. So strongly recommend. Cool. Thank you, Daisy. Okay, so Daisy, I think this is where I hand the mic to you and talk about the mismatch. You ready for this?
Ready. Yeah, I mean, this is where we can talk for hours. So one of the things that we're finding with our customers today is really the mismatch between technology and where the enterprise is. What we're finding is a lot of the enterprise companies know that they want to get interested about this technology. They have heard of it. Obviously, the craze of ChatGPT and OpenAI have opened a lot of doors for people to go, what is this? How do I use it? What's capable within the system? And so there's a lot of buzz going on around this topic and why we're having this conversation today. But really what we're finding is that people get stopped in wanting to move forward because they don't know enough about what the technology is, how it works, or how they would implement it within their own ecosystem. And so one of the things that we love to talk about over and over again is really making sure that people feel comfortable in knowing that this isn't something that has to be a huge research project. It doesn't have to be all determined like software in the past that you choose one company and then you're stuck with them for 10 years based on the budgets that you've committed to. This is really a technology that's moving forward and is really, especially, you know, what we're really looking to do at OneReach is really make this available for everyone. So we want everyone to have access to this technology. There was a conversation in one of the OneReach podcasts that our CEO had with somebody from Deloitte who was focused on the healthcare, the HR industry. And he said something that resonated so well with me. He said, it's the first time in our history where companies are no longer waiting on technology. Technology is waiting on companies. So nothing is being held back from technology any longer. It really is people feeling comfortable, feeling confident to bring those technologies into the world. And so I think that those are things that we really want to, you know, talk about, get the pressure off, utilizing a platform like OneReach or any of the other platforms that are out there that allow kind of an orchestration, like Joan was saying, an orchestration layer that allows you to pull in these technologies, play with them, utilize them. Those are the ways to get started. So we're really on this big effort to get people to use this technology, understand that it can be used by everyone. The big reason why we feel like we are agnostic in industry is because this can be used from small companies to enterprise companies, from any industry forward, internal with your own employees, your own teams, or external with customers. So this really is a really exciting time for technology, for all of us entering in this space, because we're really, you know, founding the future of how things are being used, what employees can come to expect from companies on how they're being treated, you know, what their job satisfaction looks like based on what they're expected to do in their roles, and what customers can expect from companies. So I think it's a really, really exciting time that we're entering into right now. Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, and you don't have to take our word for it. There's a research on the ecosystem. Daisy, you want to talk through this one and the wild survey?
Yeah, so we're always surprised by these kind of results. So I don't need to read these to you, but you know, and there's so many of these types of surveys with data that are basically saying that enterprise companies today still have no plans on how they're going to utilize this type of technology, inclusive of ChatGPT, with all of the media hype that it's been getting in the last couple of months. Still don't have a plan on how they're going to invest or even utilize it within their infrastructure and in their systems. And then, 44% are saying that they're not even planning on looking into it for corporate solutions. And that to us is just shocking with how far it can move their business forward. So we're really trying to break down those walls and show people, again, show that it doesn't have to be a huge product, a huge offering to get started in the space, but it really is advantageous for people to start.
Definitely. And we were looking for a metaphor that might help people understand where we're coming from. Because you want to still think
so we struggled with this metaphor, didn't we, Joan? It was one of those things where the idea is, again, in the history of technology and software solutions, usually you have to do years of, RFPs and years of research and understanding the technology, because you don't want to get it wrong. You're making multi-year commitments, multi-million-dollar deals, and your job could literally be on the line if you make a bad decision. And so the idea that we had is you had to put the architecture plan together to build your dream home, right? You had to go years and years in figuring out what you wanted it to look like, and have an architect build out your blueprints, and have the engineers make sure it was structural, and years to make that decision to build. And then if you got to the end of it and you were unhappy, it would be multi-millions of dollars to change it. That's just not the case today. So we kind of went with the Lego, or I guess it's not Lego, popsicle stick house with glue. The idea is that you could get started immediately. And if you don't like it, and it's not opinion based. We're really pushing people to understand that this should be really data-driven design. And so when we're talking about conversational experiences, generative AI, it's all about testing. It's all about iterating. It's putting your theories out there. You can do that really quickly and easily. If you make some assumptions that were wrong, the data tells you that. You can iterate quickly and change that. And there's so much, just from us being in the industry for the last 12 years, there's so much lessons that you learn from just doing it, that you would have never assumed, you would have never known to even think about until you get in there, use it, know what you like, know what you don't like, and then you can kind of change it as you go. And so those are the differences of where we're going and where things are changing within the industry, especially as it relates to technology. Is it's no longer a huge commitment. It's not a decision that you have to sit on. You can play with it with yourself, with one person. You can start playing with it with your team of 10 before it even goes out into your company. And there's just so many use cases that it doesn't stop you from choosing one. And the same with the technology. Again, I want everyone to understand that it's not just a plug for OneReach, although we love our company and believe in it highly, but you're really looking for architecture that is gives you the ability to trade in or test different technologies. OpenAI is getting a lot of media today, but 5 months ago, nobody knew of them, except that we're really into the space already. There's going to be another one that enters this space. Our technology is moving so fast right now that, Elon Musk said he's going to disrupt OpenAI. I believe he will. So choose a company that can continue to build and grow with your iterations and your data. And I think that's the big decision to make, is finding a platform that can grow with you. Absolutely. Otherwise, technology isn't holding us back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think I'll jump to this one, at least, like, get your hands dirty, like all of the projects we've seen, the customer projects and the interest that they have, like really trying things out. But I also want to go to, we did label this talk, big risk, bigger opportunity. We just have to at least speak to some of the risk, which could keep you up at night. I will really quickly, no protocols and inaction could leave you in a really rough spot. I don't know if anyone heard about the Samsung employees who apparently just put sensitive company data right into ChatGPT. Don't do this. And unfortunately, hackers got 200 gigabytes worth of confidential data, of source code, of biometrics data. So I think really learning how we mitigate the risk. I think, Daisy, we have this like, try it out, explore, but also needing guardrails, like having people upskill in, would they email like sensitive data to a like spammy email, but like somehow ChatGPT, like, I don't know, things disappear, but thinking about testing and iterating with small use cases, what can it do well? What can't it do well? This is just one, big news flash. I mean, I think a lot of us are trying to figure out where that risk mitigation is, how that anxiety. You want to speak to that, Daisy?
Yeah, I think that just like you were saying, Joan, I think it's so important that as you try things out, that you're really getting to know what the technology is capable of. And when you get to know what the technology is capable of, you learn the limitations as well. And so I think that's really important before you start creating enterprise solutions. You're really creating solutions that you're getting used to the technology, understanding the constraints, understanding what you need to put those guardrails in for, or hiring companies that know it. But I think that that's a really important piece of it. With any, I'm definitely not your typical Marvel fan here, but with any big responsibility comes big risk, right? And so I think it's one of those things that you, and it's true here. It's true really with anything. It's just that this has given it to, taken the technology down to the entry-level layer. We're making this technology affordable and available to the masses, which is so exciting for all of the use cases that are going to be solved, right? For all of the ideas that people can think of that didn't have the ability to change or create action before, we're now giving people the ability to create that action, make the change that's available to them without having to be developers or have a huge development team. And that's so exciting. And then at the same time, with anything that's being new, there's not a lot of a lot of known guardrails to keep people in line. And so I think making sure that you're thinking intelligently around all facets of your solution is going to be important as you move forward. But again, starting small and understanding is a huge part of figuring out what those risks could be. Definitely don't have your first project tie into your company's database with confidential data, because you're probably going to make a mistake and leak some internal data out there in the world. But if you're putting a PTO request bot together, that's not a high risk use case, and it could be very valuable for your organization. So those are things I think just to think about as you look at what it is that you're going to move forward with.
Definitely. Oh, and we're getting questions in the chat. Yes, love it. Yes, please. And one of them we're going to talk about really shortly. So let me transitioning into our 4 critical components section. Daisy, you're already talking about this. Powerful front end in need of a back end.
Right. Go ahead, Joan.
No, well, I was going to say, I took literally a screenshot of ChatGPT the other day and really thinking of this bar, right? This opportunity to have such an accessible, like I was posting about the other day, like English is now the coding language, if you think about it that way, which can blow one's mind. But really thinking about, we see this user interface. We see this, bar to type in. What is the backend it's calling from? What are those data sets? What is it a piece of the data set? Is it all the backend of your company? Like really thinking how that connects with backend source code.
Yeah, and I would just say that it's not even English is it's voice. So, what chat or generative AI can do is it can translate in multiple languages. So language isn't, whether it be a coding language or whether it be a speaking language, is not a, distractor from entry. And that's really exciting. Again, it just opens it up for how many people can be involved in creating solutions for our world right now, whether it's at a individual level, a business level, a community level, or a global level. It gets really exciting on how many things are being pulled away from points of entry that didn't exist before. But you're absolutely right, Joan. I think it's, something like ChatGPT creates content, but then what are you going to do with that content? What is the system that it's going to trigger? The power comes with some level of automation and some level of integration. So what are you going to do with it? Once that content gets created, then what? And those are decisions that really, that's the thoughtfulness that I think needs to go into some of the projects that you're thinking about and some of the use cases. But again, there's so many that can get you started immediately. And if nothing else, what I would love to get out there today is get started, try things out, start getting your hands dirty, because the more you figure out what it is that can be done, the more ideas come to you of what can be done. And I think, again, that gets really exciting to the change that this is going to be able to make in our society in a positive way. So
definitely. Well, if I could, I have been practicing with all kinds of things, not company related. My friend was making cover letters recently. I've been building Shiny apps and practicing reprompts, because being able to reprompt and change it, you can make MVP. They're not beautiful, but they're something. Okay, great. This one I'm very, very excited about. Optionality is critical. Be sure your solution can be flexible and have lots of options to iterate which models you implement, as the joke I'd like to make. Models, one day you're in, the next day you're out. If anyone else watches Project Runway. But this is an example of just how fast what the best model of the day is cycling, literally feels like weekly at this point. But really, Daisy, I think that's one of the strengths of the OneReach platform is, I think some people doubt it, but it's really the case about how much optionality we have in our stack. Do you want to?
Yeah, and I think that this is just important as we move forward, right? This gets back to you don't have to make a decision today that you're stuck with 5 years from now, especially with how quickly technology is changing and how many new players are entering the field. It's going faster than it ever has been before. And this kind of shows you just at a snippet how many things have been coming into play that we weren't even talking about a year ago. And so I think, again, in just being able to make decisions that are intelligent means that you're making decisions that don't lock you into any one technology, knowing that that could be disrupted. If anybody would have asked anyone in the world if Google could be disrupted in a couple of months, 6 months from today, before today, none of us would have said Google is going anywhere. And then all of a sudden OpenAI comes out and it's like, holy cow, this could really be a thing. And I think it really does. There's so many disruptors, industry disruptors that this technology can create. It's going to be a different world a couple of years from now than it is today if we don't have database companies that are ruling the world, or, there's just so many things, whether it be from high data usage or storage, that becomes something of the past. We have other industries that just, CRMs, if data is completely at your fingertips, you don't need a huge CRM system anymore. So there's just so many things that could be disrupted by how quickly our technology is going. And so as you're making these choices, you don't have to know what the future is going to be. You really can future-proof your company and your decisions as long as you choose an integration platform that is really pulling all of those pieces together and gives you optionality to add the technology as it comes forward.
Definitely. Awesome. Okay, well, I say we move to the next one. Oh, my favorite one. One of my favorite ones. Talking about that value and all our ROI beyond dollar signs. We at OneReach, we talk about lots of different ways to measure value to our customers. Typical ROI may not apply. Prepare to fail and first and iterate quickly. We provide examples of how our partners see results beyond the dollar signs. Here's my little quip: automating the mundane, augmenting human connection. Daisy, do you want to walk through one of our examples first, then we can
Yeah.
talk?
Well, I always love your example of one of the customers. We aren't at liberty to say, but why don't you
Spreadsheet?
that example? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones, I think. And there's a million of them.
Yeah, we are working with a new customer that is moving over to our stack, and we're learning about their user journey of how they even build their current reports and stuff. And we learned that there's a human that literally spends 8 to 16 hours a week filling out an Excel spreadsheet with different data points that she aggregates across. And she just put in notice. The person before her put in notice. I can't imagine someone loving a job where you literally, like, potentially 1 or 2 days of your whole week is manual spreadsheet stuff. Like, this is a competent, creative, intellectual adult. And so we're really excited to automate potentially 98% of that in the next few sprints. Yeah.
And that doesn't get rid of her job, right? Or the job. It's
we
not
still need her.
And she, she gave notice. But what it does is allows her to move from spending half of her week of hours entering manual data into a spreadsheet in doing more strategic or more direct work with customers. And that not only elevates her role within the company, but it also makes her enjoy her position that she gets to play so much more, makes her feel more valuable within the organization. So I think that that's really what we need to look at this technology. I know there's a lot of fear out there around getting rid of jobs. And while it absolutely will get rid of jobs, they're mostly the jobs that people aren't happy doing, or a lot of them are. There's so many jobs that need human touch and need human interaction, and those aren't going away. We joke all the time about new industries that get created when this disruption happens. And one of the ones, especially as we're creating, we joke about a term of a chat whisperer, which really is a conversational AI designer expert that really understands how these technologies work. Chat is an art on its own. All of the chat GPT, to get it to respond the way you want it to respond, and to, limit hallucinations as much as possible, and to make sure that you're getting the interaction and the experience that you're expecting with the customers using this technology, takes a lot of understanding and an experience of how you can say things best, how you can ask the question best, how you can get the response back that you want to get best. And so those chat whisperers, those people that are going to get good at figuring out how that technology works, are going to be able to, really earn a fantastic living doing things that job wasn't here before. And we go back in history and we look at that, like there never used to be a Starbucks barista, right? Everybody just poured their own coffee. And now we have baristas in the world, thank God, that can get us started for our days. So, I know that there's a lot of fear in how many jobs does this take away? And I would just argue that they're probably taking away the right jobs and giving people an opportunity to grow in areas that maybe they didn't have available to them before, and hopefully increase the level of, personal growth, professional growth, and socioeconomic growth that they might not have had previously.
Oh, absolutely. One, I think for that one, at least, I don't know if I'll get any say when these changes happen, but she has great knowledge of the company, of the opportunities. They haven't been hitting benchmarks as much. Like, I would love to see her move to a strategic role where she can help with hitting those benchmarks with data-driven iterations. They could hit huge other ROI for the company. Daisy, also, as you mentioned, learning how to design systems well. Excuse me, this is my friend Rebecca's book. If you haven't read this one about design, I know we've got so many resources for you, but if you're thinking about curating beautiful experiences, conversations with things, excuse me, I'll just put that forward. But let's talk about another case study. Love jumping into these. Another retailer we can't yet say the name of, but maybe by the end of the year, Daisy, let's hope.
Yeah.
This is a Fortune award-winning US retailer, large company. We've created 4 solutions for them, but specifically looking at one we're really excited about. It's an IVR, a phone tree product. We deployed it in 10 weeks, an enterprise grade 1. As we scale the project, it'll be implemented into over 1,000 locations, which translates into 30 million calls per year. Our NLU is performing at a 95% average, go team go, with 8 intents supported. But talking about the ROI in different pieces of the puzzle. Okay, previously people were calling this retailer and sometimes no one was picking up the phone. Nobody. So we have decreased the unanswered calls by 300%, which is a huge boost in user experience. We also have different layers of end users on the different solutions we're building. There's the enterprise, our customers, their employees, which Daisy and I just talked about, employee satisfaction, how we're using full-time employees as well. And then the end users who are buying things at the retailer and their experience with the product, with the brand, etc. We've leveraged GPT for synonyms for responses. Did I mention our NLU performing super well, our ability to iterate it quickly, and a high quality one quickly. We have 4 products together, but literally back to this automating clutter, our customer has been shocked at when we automate the super high frequency use cases of the mundane, they can actually speak to their customer. This was my hope, is we could contrast these slides of like looking into a screen versus like actually speaking with your customer, potential upsell opportunities, understanding their pain points, really a broader sense, is translating into a revenue boost per store that is $12,000 per month per store that we're implementing our solutions into. Like who wouldn't want this type of revenue boost? Better user experience, better knowledge of the data, what people are asking about. Daisy, I haven't been in one of these stores, but I've heard about magical customer experiences.
Yeah, and I think that this company in general really focuses on the customer experience, and they've been rated really high in how they treat their customers and the experience they put their customers through. Not only is the ROI through efficiencies, it's through understanding the data and being able to make more informed decisions as the company moves forward, spending money in the right areas versus the wrong areas, ensuring that the team members that they have stay longer because they're happier at their jobs. There's so much in it that's not just an ROI for revenue, although in this case, it's a huge one. But there's so many other use cases. There was a point in time where things were moving really fast and the executive team said, oh, we might have to put this on pause. And the team that was using the product is like, oh, you're not taking this away from me. So because it made their lives so much better. So I think that, again, if done right, if done well, it's not only benefit to the organization, it's a benefit to the enterprise company from a top dollar cost savings or efficiency savings. They can get more people through their stores faster, but it's also a positive impact from the customer experience, the customer journey, as well as the employee experience and the employee journey. And I think that a lot of, especially enterprise companies, have been focusing so much on their customers that many times they forget about their employee experience. And now we can really, really try to focus on both as we move forward.
Definitely.
Which is great.
Well, I think as you know, OneReach also, one of the things I love about this project is we're finding new opportunities for them. Like we literally have a spreadsheet of all these different things. We're like low-hanging fruit of their, like all these different data sets that they have that we can leverage. Or, you know, me, the optimizer data nerd, going to each of them and seeing, or, you know, there's iteration that we can continue to do for this one. So I feel like I'm really happy with it where it is today, and we can still do so much more for this customer going forward. Cool. Anything else you want to say about that?
I was just going to say, I think that that's also something that, you know, for everybody listening and interacting today, it's also one of those things that what we found is as people learn and as people get trained on this technology and on these software, you have a hard time thinking what it's capable of or how I would use it to start. But once you see what's capable and you start putting those use cases together, a part of your brain opens up that you didn't even know existed or didn't even know needed to open up, that now all of a sudden, all of those use cases, you're like, oh my gosh, this could make my job easier in this way, or I could help my company in this way, or, you know, all of these, it's almost like a light bulb moment goes off and you start realizing how many things you can do. And some of them are really small use cases. We, you know, at OneReach call them skills because they become more of a skill than a full-on use case. But some of those skills are use cases in themselves. So again, you know, it doesn't have to be something this large to be successful. We can really start with building blocks to get to that place.
Definitely. Well, it took building blocks to get here. I mean, this
That's
is a
right.
fully fledged one. Okay, our last one, talk about carrot and stick opportunities here. The cost of inaction. I think this is important. We literally have someone on the fence. Embracing generative AI is a big risk, but doing nothing is the biggest risk. But it doesn't have to be. Limit the risk by choosing future-proofed, robust platforms like ours potentially or otherwise that allow you to try to use different models, you know, leverage. I certainly have tried lots of different platforms, and you feel the difference as you build, you know, the restrictions, the opportunities. Daisy, do you want to speak a little to the cost of inaction, choosing to sit it out?
Yeah, well, I would say for anybody out there, your competitors are not going to be sitting it out. And so you're either going to get into the game first and learn fast, because this is exponential growth. So the sooner you enter, the faster you're going to be at the top of your leaderboard, and it's going to be harder for people to catch you. The longer you wait, the opposite of that. And so I think the cost of inaction is just where are you going to be on the, you know, on the leaderboard or not on the leaderboard. And again, catching your competition who now has the potential to exponentially grow and exponentially be better is going to be a hard race to win. So I think that's the biggest cost of inaction. Honestly, there are a lot of things, again, I feel like I'm on repeat here, but so many things that you learn along the way for what it is, what are the risks, what are the things that you're going to have to keep in mind, how are you going to keep this robust infrastructure from not, you're going to become reliant upon it very quickly. So how do you make sure that it stays online, and who's going to be, you know, the operational side of it to make sure that it continues to grow and continues to stay relevant. So again, those are a lot of job growth opportunities, but this is happening. You're seeing it happen already. Microsoft has bet their whole existence on it, and things are moving in that direction. So I don't think it's a matter of, is it going to happen? It's just a matter of when people are choosing to get on the rush. So
absolutely,
that's how I see it. Anyway.
I'm guessing the people in this room are on the same page, but it's good to at least mention that those different ways. So we, you know, our recommendation is running towards this, as you can hear from, and whatever age, why not? Okay.
Yeah, you can either be a company that is you know, you might be somebody who's an influencer at your company that can make these changes happen, or you might be somebody who is going to, create the next solution that, we had an intern that worked with us for the summer, and she was trying to do her PhD project on creating a conversational AI for one of her siblings that had autism to the level that they couldn't speak. And she couldn't find a project, or she couldn't, in her time frame for her PhD project, to find software that would allow her to do that. And she came to OneReach, and she was able to do it in about 3 weeks. So those types of things, finding the companies where you can do that, she's going to probably change the world in a really positive way for children that can't speak, and being able to still control their environments. So you don't have to be working at an enterprise company to utilize this technology and really change the world in amazing ways that we can't even imagine. So I hope that to the viewers out there watching this, that you're inspired to do something, because again, the technology is ready for you. It's just us coming up with creative ideas on how we're going to use it.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Ladies, I don't want to cut you short because it's been super interesting, but we do have some questions. So
Sure.
Wait, just a few more slides.
Sure.
We're almost there. I thought
okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm so excited for the questions. We just want to make sure, like, we have our platform. We're very excited to, as we mentioned to you, my team did say if there are any enterprises in this room who are interested in our toolkit, we have a lovely PDF that you're welcome to email me about. I got permission to talk about this one, Daisy, so
Yeah,
try not to get in trouble. Check it out. And if people are interested in different resources, Daisy mentioned this as well, we have a very highly ranked podcast that pairs along with the book. We were just recently digging into digital twins, which, if you haven't heard about this, really cool. The episodes with Josh and Rob, our teammates. So thank you so much. I'm really excited for Q&A, but strongly recommend the podcast. I've been learning a bunch from my colleagues. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been, it was really super insightful, I think, and very inspiring, just like your product. Thank you very much for this presentation. So we do have a couple of questions. We still have 10 minutes to go, so just let's dive into it. I have a question. Have you seen a request for employee experience as well as customer experience? And if so, what has been done? I think you've talked about it a bit with your retailer example. Yeah. Maybe you have some other insight to share. What can be done in terms of employee experience?
Oh my gosh, I think employee experience is one that can be grown even more than the customer experience. Like I said before, I think a large focus has been put on customer experience, and it's really fallen short on the employee side. And so anything that has to do with HR, from recruiting to onboarding to training to giving employees an availability to have, one of the things that Joan just talked about is digital twin. I don't know if that's just a very known concept, but it's a bot that can, create your digital twin, so you don't have to join meetings as much. You can send your digital twin, and if there's any questions that your digital twin can't answer, that they can get escalated to you as a human being. There's just so many creative ways in which we can up-level the work that people do, the amount of time they have to spend working. If you can accomplish 3 times as much with technology, do you have to work a 60-hour work week any longer? That also level sets between, working moms and non-working job seekers. So there's, it allows diversity to enter that we haven't seen in technology in the past. So we become more inclusive with diversity and different types of people making decisions, having a seat at the table, not even having a table to have to sit at, that they can just make solutions that are game changers in the world. So there's so many use cases from HR all the way from how you're acting in a day-to-day experience, from the job that you have to do. Collections and finance is one of the worst jobs. Nobody wants to ever do it. That can be automated. So there's so many of those types of use cases. We could probably have a podcast alone.
Absolutely. Yes, I think you could.
Fun ideas.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
And
around how to change that.
Just like you said before, I think just the, if you can spare your employees from having to put all the different data into one Excel file, that just saves everyone time and effort and money, and people can concentrate on the tasks of more added value, I guess.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. All of us want to be more useful, and I think that's the goal, is to make employees more useful.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything to add to that, Joan?
Oh, that was fantastic. Well, I was just going to give more concrete examples, because I think, Daisy, you and I have such creativity about what we see. I want to mention, like you mentioned, a PTO bot, be able to schedule in your vacations. I've seen fantastic ones about like product resourcing, like on the road, like literally in WhatsApp being like, hey, I need more of this, or can I, lots of different opportunities to connect with your company in different ways. Like thinking of your employees as the end users sometimes are different, but for the scaled enterprises, sometimes tiny support things, seemingly tiny, can have huge repercussions to that productivity.
Even time tracking, things that we all hate to do, but many times have to do them. Those can be automated or made much more simplistic so that they're not such an overhead. Think of all the things you hate doing, and most likely those are the things that can be automated in a really positive way.
I can see some sense of that. Yeah. I'm going to move on with the next question, because I don't have a lot of time left, if you allow me. I have a question. Do you think AI solutions need some regulations? I guess the real question is, what kind of regulations do you think it needs? Because it definitely needs some.
Yeah. I think that this is where, who am I to say what regulations it needs? I'm definitely not the right person to make that decision alone, but will it need it? Absolutely. I think that we always want to make sure that technology is used more for good than evil. And there's a lot of ways that it can be both, obviously, in the world. So there's going to need to be regulations, but I think that they have to be intentional, informed. We want to make sure that the people making those regulations are informed of what good can come of it, and not just be making regulations based on fear. And that's where I would
stand. Someone asks, can it change diapers? I think it's a cry of despair of a new mom.
Maybe it can teach how to be potty trained faster. I don't know about diapers, but there's got to be something in there that we could benefit from.
There are people that think that changing diapers are better than putting together Excel sheets. There is some sense in that. I can feel, there is a startup opportunity. That's very good. That's good. I have just the last question, and it's quite philosophical, so brace yourselves.
Okay.
Can you share your viewpoint about term hallucination in context of ChatGPT? When us humans interpret ChatGPT's responses as confident, aren't we just projecting ourselves on a machine that has no notion of confidence?
Yeah, this is just, I love this question so much, because I think that as humans who start seeing technology act in what we call humanistic ways, we do put emotion on things that are very not emotional. So even going back to, timesheets, I've been in my career long enough, I won't tell you how long, but long enough where we used to have people that had to follow up with you. And maybe there's still companies that do this today, that spend thousands of dollars to hire people to follow up with people to say, hey, please enter your timesheet. Just that alone, when you think about stuff like that, the person having to ask gets really frustrated because they're offended that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that I have to ask you. And the person being asked gets really offended that they're being asked, and they get really frustrated. That's like, oh my God, do you not know how much important things I have going on that you're bugging me about entering my time? You separate both of those and take that emotion away. If a machine has to do that, they don't have any emotion asking you 15 times in a week. There's no bias. They don't think any differently of you, whether you're a good employee or a bad employee, if they have to ask you 15 times. So the bias goes away, the hard feelings go away. You may still be frustrated at the same level as when a human did, but you understand it's a machine, so you don't have that same emotion going back. So I think emotion on top of that, yes, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that I think goes away when we have machines doing it versus people. As far as hallucinations go, and sorry, Joan, please jump in if you want to. I'll keep talking forever. As far as hallucinations go, I think that what we have to do is, as we're utilizing this technology, is making sure that people know the difference between when it's chat or a machine answering versus when it's a verified answer. And so we've been working really hard on this at OneReach to make sure that there's a known difference between when we're confident that it is answered in a way that is truth versus a machine doing it. And so, you know, in the United States specifically, we've gotten a lot of this in fake news in our media in the last couple political cycles. So we've had to kind of jump forward and say what's truth and what's fake. And I think that same concept
it's not an easy question
as we move forward with this technology. It's going to be
all
important
right.
to see the difference. Thank
you very much, Daisy, for all your thoughts. I think it's really super interesting and I'm super excited about this, about your talk. It was great. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot, and I think everyone has learned a lot. If you haven't, that's on you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We have to wrap it up. But thanks everyone. Thanks to our participants. Thanks for everyone who has been joining us throughout the Zoom meeting. And once again, that was a great talk, and we've learned a lot of things from you. And when you want to come back, you're always welcome. Any other insights?
Really
Thank you.
it.
Thank you for organizing.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Have a great day.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.